Welcome back to our channel, San Luis Obispo Real Estate. This is J Bond Real Estate Group, brokered by eXp Realty. If you're tuning into a video titled Big Mistakes to Make When Buying a Home in San Luis Obispo County, you're tuning in to the right place. Now, as always, if you're looking for a custom list of homes for sale that meet your criteria specifically, make sure you're clicking on the link in this video description so we can create that custom list for you. Now, what are some big mistakes that buyers are making when buying in San Luis Obispo County? I'm here to tell you, the biggest mistake, right, is lack of urgency or indecision. Oh Lord, indecision. What do we mean by that? Well, I understand, and I want to be quite clear. It is a big decision. It is going to be one of the biggest decisions financially impacting your life, your family, your quality of life that you can make, right, in your lifetime. Buying a home, it's a big deal. But I want to be honest, you have to be analytical and proactive at the same time. And I understand that is easier said than done. But let me just give you an explanation of why I say that. Now, there are lots of buyers that want to overanalyze properties. And sometimes it takes missing a few homes that they actually really liked and that checked a lot of boxes for them before they finally learn, geez, Jay, you were right. We need to really be making our decisions much more hastily if we don't want to miss out on any homes in this market. Now, average days on market for 2026 this year in SLO County, for single family product that is about 57 days, right? Now, not all homes, however, are sitting that long, right? Many homes are moving much quickly, right? A lot sooner. Now, how soon? Well, from what we see with our listings and working with our buyers in the marketplace, in most price points, properties can move literally within a few weeks or sooner, right? Sometimes less than 15 days in market time if, this is an if, they're priced around what similar homes are selling for. Meaning if a home is priced well, it will not be sitting for long, and I can tell you, it will not be sitting for 57 days. So you may want to see it within the first few days it's on the market. Make sure you're hitting that first open house, right? And processing it and making a decision very quickly, because if not, I can tell you there's 2 or 3 or 4 other buyers who are going to move, and you don't want to kick yourself and say, shoot, gosh, why didn't I get moving sooner? We really love that house. And after a few times that happens, you start learning and getting in gear. Gosh, I got to get my butt moving and making sure that I'm being proactive of seeing homes, analyzing these properties compared to our buy box, right? And making sure we're being proactive and getting our offer in as soon as possible. Now, the next big mistake that home buyers make when buying in San Luis Obispo County is not understanding the city or area that they're buying a home in. What do I mean by that? Well, as I mentioned in several past videos, we operate in various microclimates here in the county. Now, you can drive 10 or 15 minutes in any direction and you're going to hit likely different weather, slightly different environment, slightly different housing inventory, amenities, et cetera, right? So it's critical that you consult with your agent or broker and get a good understanding of each type of city, right? If you just want to focus on, let's just say, the southern end of the county right now, there's a lot of dramatic differences between, let's say, San Luis Obispo, Arroyo Grande, as well as Nipomo. Much like when you're buying north of the grade, right north of San Luis Obispo, there's a lot of differences between Atascadero, right, and Paso Robles, as well as Templeton. So there's things that you want to figure in. Biggest thing, in my opinion, is understanding climate, right? Weather. Hey, am I looking for something that's going to be more moderate year round? And do I have the budget to be buying in those cities, right? A big question you want to ask yourself. If that's the case, you may want to buy in San Luis Obispo or maybe the southern end of the county, right? Where it's a little bit more coastal, it's a little bit cooler and moderate throughout the year. And this also attributes to Arroyo Grande, Grover Beach, Pismo, Avila, as well as Nipomo, right? So, hey, if I don't want 90, 100 degree summertime weather, well then, hey, I probably want to buy south of the grade, right? Southern, San Luis Obispo County, that's where you want to be focusing on. Now, again, if you want to be coastal or closer to a beach, also something you want to take into consideration, because again, if you're in Arroyo Grande, if you're in Nipomo, hey, depending on where I'm at, I might be 7 to 10 minutes away from the nearest beach, right? Now, north of the grade, right, if you don't mind more, I don't want to say the word extremes because they're not hugely extreme, but more extreme versus southern, southern end of the county, I don't mind heat. I like heat. Some folks really do like more consistent warmth throughout the year. If that's the case, hey, move to the northern end of the county, right? Know that you're going to have hot summer days, beautiful warm summer evenings, right? We all know what it's like to enjoy a beautiful summer night in Paso Robles during the summer, right? But also know that you're going to get a little bit cooler fall and winter, and know that you're okay with that. Know that, hey, during the fall and winter, north of the grade, meaning north of San Luis Obispo, in those cities, I'm going to be wearing pants or jeans and probably a heavier jacket, throughout that season, because again, yes, there is a little bit more seasonality than what you're going to experience in the south end of the county in San Luis Obispo. Another example is amenities, right? Shopping, dining, things that you like to go out and do, right? Now, again, let's just compare, let's say, San Luis Obispo to Nipomo, for example, right? There's going to be far less shopping, far less dining and going out experiences in Nipomo than you're going to experience in San Luis Obispo, right? There's more shopping, more dining in SLO proper versus even Oro Grande. But again, there's also differences in price tags, right? So figuring in your buy box and what you need compared to your budget, right? So a lot of things to analyze, and those are some mistakes that buyers are making. Same with north end of the county. There's going to be more dining in downtown Paso Robles than there's going to be in downtown Atascadero or downtown Templeton, right? So lifestyle things, these are things that you need to take into consideration and know, hey, within my budget, maybe I don't mind being 15 minutes away from these things because it's more affordable, right? Or more within my budget. So just things to focus on. Now, again, throughout this whole process, we're here as a resource. So if you want to bounce ideas off from a local expert, definitely let us know. And if you want to get a custom list of homes that meet your search criteria, make sure you're clicking the link in the description of this video. Now, moving on to the next big mistake that buyers are making, having your finances in order. Woo! What I mean by that, being pre-approved, or if you're buying cash, making sure your funds are available, you have your pre-approval letter from your loan officer, your mortgage company, ready to rock and roll before you even start looking at properties for a few reasons. One, hey, it's going to tell you what your monthly mortgage payment's going to be. That's also going to tell you how much money you're going to spend or want to spend on a purchase, right? So it's going to literally dictate what you're even going to be looking at and shopping for, right? It's really foolish and a lot of waste of time to go looking at properties that are, let's say, for example, $1 million, and then getting sticker shock once you get your pre-approval from your bank and realizing, oh shoot, I should be shopping in the $800,000 range, right? I wish I didn't spend a whole month looking at homes that I really don't want to afford in that bracket, right? Same with cash. Make sure that your funds are available, and also make sure that you have said documentation available, because in lieu of a pre-approval letter, if you're buying cash, what do you want to show? Proof of funds, right? I want to show a bank statement or something, an account showing that I have the cash and that my offer that I'm making is actually tangible, it has some teeth to it, right? And you can take it very seriously. Now, the next mistake that buyers make, and this is a really big one, trying to time the market. Honestly, I cannot talk enough about this. I don't think we have enough time today to talk about the experiences that I go through with buyers trying to time the market. Now, given there are buyers who end up timing things pretty darn well in the scope of things, right? But no one has a crystal ball. No matter what the interest rate environment, no matter what the market conditions are, it's really hard to analyze if you're going to end up on top. What it boils down to, honestly, is biting the bullet, making the purchase, and making sure that you're in the property long enough to be building equity, right? Making sure that you have a clear path for a profitable exit strategy. A lot of people have come off of the high of the market we were in a few years back. They buy a home, and then a year and a half later, they want to sell and think that, hey, my house is worth $150,000, $200,000 more than what I paid for it a year or two ago. I'm here to tell you, gang, in a normalized market that we've been in, that is not the case. It can take 5 or more years to be building a recognizable amount of equity in your home. It's not common to buy a property and have it be worth dramatically more or even recognizably more than it was, let's say, the year prior. So something that you absolutely want to take into consideration, right? Now, this is the last big mistake that I also want to point out. Buyers, you have to stop thinking that the only inventory available for sale is available online, right? That's just not true. There are many off-market opportunities that you could be capitalizing on. It boils down to the relationships, right? And the opportunities of the agent and broker that you're working with. Now, there are a lot of homeowners and property owners in the county that have told me for years, Jay, hey, I don't want to go through the motions of listing my home for sale, but if you have a buyer that wants to make an offer, we're willing to entertain offers. Again, if you want a list of all the homes for sale in the market, plus a list of off-market properties and opportunities in San Luis Obispo County and the Central Coast, click the link in the description of this video and we'll make sure we get you that list. Right now, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We want to be your resource here on the Central Coast, so make sure that you're staying tuned for our next video.